In today's digital age, there are countless ways to earn extra income from the comfort of your home. For women over 40, this can be an ideal way to balance work, family, and personal interest while supplementing your earnings. You know, everything is much more expensive and we want to pay off the debt, the school debt, everything else. So here's a roundup of three remote work opportunities that just might fit into your lifestyle. Do you feel that you're knowledgeable and maybe you have a lot of experience in different areas and you're great at sharing and teaching? Well, why not consider becoming a part-time remote tutor? Tutors can make as much as $20 an hour up to $150 an hour, and there is solid employment in this area. Online Tutor works with students in the areas of math, science, history, English, and including studying for their SATs or their ACTs. The sky is actually the limit in this area because people need assistance. Many don't even understand studying skills. So if you got the communication skills and you're able maybe to be empathetic or explain in detail, then this is the area for you. Consider these jobs. You can also check out tutor.com to get an idea of the different areas where you can teach and then just expand beyond America. A friend of mine works with teaching kids in, I think it's China or Japan, one of those, where she teaches them English. Now, there is a catch. If you're going to work with other countries, sometimes you have to get up at like 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning. But if you happen to be a really, really, really early riser, it won't be a big deal. But like I said, a friend of mine, she's been teaching foreign students for many years, and she loves it. Again, check out tutor.com for opportunities in America. And then I would say there's other platforms like VIP Kid and Teachable also can allow you to offer tutoring services, or you can create and sell your own courses. Another money-making opportunity is grant writing. Now, this position can be on-site, hybrid, or remote. A grant is a financial award given to nonprofits and for-profit organizations to help fund its work. Now, many companies need this funding but don't have the grant writing experience or simply do not have the time to chase grants, although they need it. Freelance grant writers usually charge between $20 to $100 an hour. Of course, the rate that you can charge depends upon your experience. Now, if you love your freedom and you don't want to have to log into your computer at a certain time or a certain number of hours a week, then maximize your freedom and your schedule by making money from survey taking and market research. Participate in market research and get paid for sharing your opinions on different products. There's websites such as Swagbucks, Survey Junkie, and Vendel Research that offers compensation for completing surveys and other simple tasks. Now, while this may not replace a full-time, part-time income, it can be an easy way to earn extra cash in your spare time. If these extra money tips don't work for you, keep an eye out on my channel for more episodes as I'll be bringing you more remote opportunities for women over 40. Do you have an elderly loved one who might need in-home care, but you aren't familiar with the types of services in-home care provides? Well, my next guest, Abby Sakaria, is joining me today to share many of the benefits of in-home care. Now, Abby is a family nurse practitioner and a psychiatric nurse practitioner. Since 2009, Abby has worked in the senior home care industry as a nursing assistant, as a nurse, and now as a family nurse practitioner, helping families with both medical and non-medical in-home care. Over the years, Abby's passion for seniors and their families brought about her founding Cherished Hands Home Health. They have a vision to provide quality care and make home care affordable for seniors in Montgomery Village, which is located in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Now, since 2016, Cherish Hands continues to provide home care services, developmental intellectual disabilities, mental health services, and helping individuals reach their full potential. Abby, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm familiar with in-home care because I took care of my dad for 2 years, but beforehand, I was completely in the dark. Can you first explain to people what in-home care does and some of the different services that's provided?
Sure. So, in home care services, including providing support for elderly in the home, helping with activities of daily living, such as bathing, dressing, medication reminders, companionship, errands, picking up their prescription from the pharmacy, take a walk with the senior in the community, taking them to appointments. So in-home care support is a robust support to help individuals to continue to thrive in their environment.
And what services do they not provide? Because I know I've experienced some people thinking they have a housekeeper.
Yes. So for home care, so to kind of answer your question, so there is home care and home care services which help with hands-on care. Like what I mentioned, bathing, dressing, medication reminders. It also includes light housekeeping, just like making sure the area where the client uses is clean, wiping down the kitchen counter after they make meal, because in-home care also help with meal preparation. Making sure the bathroom is kept up, but home care is different from cleaning services. So home care is being provided by nursing assistants who are licensed by Maryland Board of Nursing. So they are professionals. They will help. We help with light housekeeping, but we are not housekeepers. So there's a difference. But the other one that most people got confused about is home health care. So home health care is a service that is being provided by a registered nurse and maybe also physical therapist, occupational therapist, and their service is covered by Medicare and also most medical insurances. So if somebody is just getting out of a rehab, maybe they just got discharged from a rehab, they just got discharged from the hospital, home health follows them home, including a nurse, a physical therapist, and maybe if they need a speech therapist, occupational therapist to help them. They will help with exercise and making sure they have the right medication. A nurse will go over the medication, they do vital sign and all those things to help seniors continue to live well. However, our services in home care bridge the gap between home health and not having any assistance, because the home health, it's only a service where the nurse goes out 2 or 3 times a week, maybe for like 30 minutes. A physical therapist, the same thing. But home care is the one that can be there with the client, pick up the prescription, reinforce those exercises that the physical therapy started. So we work with home health to make sure we continue to keep individuals safe at home and also reduce hospital readmission.
Okay, so then maybe we only had a nursing assistant. So the only thing the care came in, they would give my dad his food and make sure he took his medicine. And I didn't have them do bathing or whatever, but there was a limit to what they would do. So is that nursing assistant versus in-home care?
So in home care includes companionship. and also actual hands-on care. So these services also is both of them is being provided by nursing assistants under the oversight of a nurse. So if somebody have so there are different level of licensing in Maryland for home care. So home care agencies, they are licensed by Office of Healthcare Quality. So they do have level one, which is just basic companionship and helping with activities of daily living, but there's also a level up, which is include administration of medications, and also there's a level up which include nursing. So a lot of home care agency does only have capacity for level one, which is shower, bathing, medication reminders, in which Cherish Hands Home Health Care, we are level three residential service agency. So we have the capacity to provide medication administration. We do reminders like other agency, but we can actually administer medication and also administer intravenous medication if it's needed. We can do wound care. So that's the difference. It's very confusing for family member when they are looking for services. So I say, you know what, go to my YouTube channel because I've done a lot of videos, different between home health and home care. What
God.
does that look like?
Okay, please share the name of your YouTube channel.
Cherished Hands Home Health.
Okay, good. That way we don't forget. I'm surprised to know that Medicare actually covers some, I guess you said it's at the nursing level that they actually cover that.
Yes, skilled level. It's a
So
skilled service.
is there an assessment that's done or the doctor makes the recommendation so that the family knows what to seek? How does that work out?
So if somebody is so the home health, which is covered by Medicare, the physical therapy, nursing, and occupational therapy, it's a service that the doctor have to order. However, if somebody is getting discharged from the hospital or coming out of the rehab we already set it up and link them to a Medicare certified agency. But let's say somebody is in the home, maybe they didn't go to the hospital, but they are in the home and they are declining and they can use some physical therapy assistant. They can talk to their provider, their primary care provider. Then that provider will have to make recommendation and write an order before they can get the home health, which is nursing, PT, and OT.
Okay. Okay. So it's a bit more clarity. And do they generally give a list of companies to find, or do the families have to search them on their own?
So usually the provide for the home health, which is Medicare certified, the provider, we already have the doctor, we already have a company because they have to write an order. But however, sometimes that doesn't always happen. So if the family can go online themselves and look for agency, Montgomery County have resource guide. There are different resources that family could tap into.
Okay. And what should they look for to make sure they're finding a quality service? Because that's rather scary.
Yeah, so for our level of service, for home care services, you have to make sure that the agency that you are hired is licensed and also they have insurance and their staff are trained. In this new era, a lot of people, including myself, we use Google to search for everything. So agency who take pride in their service by, asking for review, or if the client can go online and do review for the agency, you should know those agency take pride in what they're doing. So the family can look on Google, see what other people who have used the service are saying. But also making sure you are hiring an agency who have trained and qualified staff. You can find out, look on their website. But when you speak with agencies, because there's a lot of agency in Montgomery County, there's a lot of us. So finding the right agency we include to make sure that you look on the mission of the agency. What does their leadership looks like? You want to make sure it's an agency where your loved one is not going to be a number, where their care actually matters. For us at Cherished Hands Home Health, our vision is to provide quality care by building community support for our clients as well as our care providers. And that is what we've been able to do over the years.
Yeah. I will say the family can tell the difference, at least from my experience, when you get I guess I had a nursing assistant, I'm not even sure. When my regular wasn't available for my dad and someone came in to fill in, you could really tell the difference when the person really cared. Like I knew which ones who came in who were built like that was their mission, that was their purpose, because they really cared and they took care of details. And I gave them very little to do just because I didn't want to overwork anybody. But that stands out.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. For us in our agency at Cherish Hands, when we are hiring staff, and I mentioned this morning to one of the family members when I stopped by, you have to hire people who have a heart. We could teach these skills. I've been in the senior care industry for about 20 years now. Whatever skills the staff need, we can teach them, which we always do before they go. But you cannot teach people to be human. They have to have a heart because we are in the business of caring for people. And home care is not a service where people gladly say, oh, I need to have a stranger in my house. They're calling us because there's a crisis. So if the company that they're talking to understand that there's a crisis, and also making sure that they have trained staff, the family can pick that up from, because we have family who talking to us and they'll say, oh yeah, you make me, your message is warm. You make me feel like I want to have my dad in your care.
That's awesome. You know what hit me? I never thought about it until this moment that a family caregiver is not only caring for that elderly person, you're caring for the family member as well, because of the relief and the I guess relieving the stress, taking some of the responsibilities so that we have a little less to do, because it's a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
And also, with the family caregivers, even though if somebody have 24-hour care, meaning because our service goes from as little as an hour to needing help around the clock. Even if somebody need help around the clock, family caregivers are still there. You carry your loved one in your heart. You carry them to your sleep. So this is some part of the training we give our care providers. Like when you go in the home, you're not only thinking about the clients, but also thinking about the family members who are there. Because some people only have help for 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Guess who does the remaining 16 hours or 20 hours? It's the family. And I said this to them because you are working even though you don't know that you are. Because you are dead. Even in your sleep, when you go to work, you're thinking if mom is okay. But to kind of like get rid of that worry, they can reach out to us. We have different programs that we can help to relieve the stress of family caregivers.
Okay, so you have the care where it's person isn't necessarily a nurse, but a nursing assistant.
Yes.
I'm saying this right. Outside of Medicare, as well
Yes.
as the Medicare service. So the one that's outside of Medicare, where is it fully paid for the Medicare, or is it 80%? Because I know Medicare is usually 80% with a lot of everything.
So for in-home care services, Medicare does not pay for that. The service of a nursing assistant.
Right.
Medicare does not pay for it. But there are different ways that people can pay for in-home care services. And one of those ways is if they have a long-term care insurance. This is like a life insurance somebody must have paid into over the years. And also if they have Medicaid waiver for low income, they have to have Medicaid, but also have the waiver on top of it. But there's also resources through the Veteran Administration for veterans and their surviving spouses. And also there are other resources in the county. Like for example, Montgomery County have a respite program that provide relief for the family. I believe it's about 144 hours a year. And there are also other resources, like some religious organization have resources for their members. So it's good to tap into what is available in the community to help pay. And of course, people can pay out of pocket for this service. But for the Medicare level of service, which we are not a Medicare certified agency, but if somebody is getting that type of service, I would defer to Medicare, but I believe it's 100% covered.
Okay.
However, if it's Medicare Part A,
Right.
it's 100% covered. But if somebody is already in the community and they need a physical therapy, there's also something called Medicare Part B that pays for post-acute care, rehab, but it's like 80%, and the family or the secondary insurance can pick up the difference.
Got it. And I'm glad that you mentioned veterans because my dad's home care, I think we got 12 hours a week, I forgot, but they paid for that fully. And can you share the average cost per hour? Although there's some people who are listening from elsewhere, but maybe the average cost in this area or the USA average cost per hour, because people are usually shocked at that. And I want people to plan in advance because they need to.
Yes. So in Montgomery County, um, the rates, the average rate for home care, it depends on the level of, care that a person needs. Just like you mentioned, it seems like your dad didn't need a lot. So if somebody needs less, then the cost is a little bit lesser compared to somebody who is bedbound. So the rate, I believe, is between $30 to $40, depending on the level of care. And for the, family caregivers, like you said, who are hearing us at home, it's always good to plan for our future. I'm 42 years old. I've looked into long-term care insurance because that is what I do. And I see how in-home care is not cheap, but there is value for the service that we deliver.
Yeah. And I mean, I had friends, family members, they're like, oh, I need to get someone overnight. I'm like, do you have the money for that? Because if I'm not mistaken, overnight is even more expensive.
Yeah, that is different from company to company.
Okay.
In our company, we don't charge we don't charge different for overnight
Got it.
because the goal, even we participate in Medicaid waiver, which the reimbursement is not, it's not so good. But when I started a company, I want to make sure we can help as many people as possible. And people who have Medicaid, somebody have to help them and they need quality service. So
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
happy that we can do that.
And just to give people an idea, if you need, let's just say 10 hours a week, multiply that by about $35 an hour. So that's 350 times four. That's about what, 1,200, more than 1,200 a month.
Mhm.
So just think about that, plan for yourself, plan for your mom and dad. And it's even better if you have several siblings. Why not everybody chip in $100, $200 a month or whatever you need to do, but start planning in advance so that you're not shocked, because that's what I'm running into with family members. And like I told them years ago, and now reality is hit. It's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So please share again about your YouTube channel. How can a family member reach you? And then also share, how do you onboard or how do you assess? Uh, is there like an in-home assessment or whatever before you take someone on? How does that work? Just before we leave this interview.
Yeah, sure. So for the in-home care services, what we do is after we speak with the family on the phone, we schedule a complimentary in-home care assessment, and this is done by a registered nurse to find out more about the client's needs, so we could come up with a customized, individualized care plan which is specific for that client. Because even though home care is being provided by a nursing assistant, there's an oversight from a nurse. So we do a follow-up assessment to just make sure, has anything changed in their care needs, to make sure that the care plan the instruction to the care providers is reflecting that. And our company, we on all the social media platform, Cherished Hands on Home Health. Our YouTube channel is Cherished Hands Home Health, and our website is cherishedhands.net. And all the social media platform, and I'll be Sakaraya.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. And please come back if you have more information to share, because the caregiving community is growing because we're getting older and living longer. The need is huge and it's not going anywhere. So the more people get educated about this, they can plan in advance and find caring nurses care for their loved ones, which is very much needed.
Yes, yes.
Thank
I
you.
would love to do it again. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.